You think your name's gonna be on that plaque?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty arrogant, considering the company you're in.
Yes, sir.
I like that in a pilot. Remember, when it's over out there, we're all on the same team.
Well, hello, sexy monkeys. Welcome back to SkyGeneYouTube Experience. I'm Ben. I trimmed my beard down because the other videos I noticed they were just, it was getting in everywhere. I would just pass out, take a nap, and my beard would just flat on one side. It was just a mess. So I went in and trimmed it up, and I think I got younger by like 4 years. Haven't seen this for a while, but anyway, you guys are here to talk about Top Gun and not my beard. So I did watch the new Top Gun movie, and I fucking loved it. Before I get into that video, though, I want to talk about the original Top Gun. It did came out in 1986. I was born in 1990. So for a nostalgia feeling, not much for me, to be honest. Not much of a nostalgia feeling. But that doesn't mean this is bad or good. But honestly, I really did enjoy Top Gun. I can see why everyone enjoys this movie really much. Now, many people might know this, but the director is Tony Scott. He ended up passing away from suicide a couple years after this movie was made, but that is Ridley Scott's brother. And Ridley Scott, well, he did Alien, Gladiator, Prometheus, and a million other good movies out there. But that's his brother, Tony Scott. And Tony Scott was a great director. In the sequel for Top Gun, you really see Tony Scott's filmmaking. Even though he's passed away, you can tell they took a lot of his elements and they put it into the sequel. But the first movie, Top Gun, fantastic. Full of alpha males. Incredible. I mean, you got Tom Cruise, of course. Val Kilmer plays Iceman. Tom Skerritt. Tim Robbins, at the very end, plays a little cameo, which is nice. Anthony Edwards plays Goose. He was the doctor on ER. Dr. Green. ER is my favorite TV series of all TV series. I absolutely loved ER. So this was nice seeing Anthony Edwards because he was only in like Pet Sematary 2. And that was about it for big roles. So it's good to see him in this. Also, when you see the name Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer for producers, it's a good movie. That when I hear Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson Productions, it's like, okay, I'm signed up. Every single movie they put out there has been a fucking home run. Home run. So to be in this movie as an actor, you have to be definitely an alpha male. You need to have a clean-shaved, strong jaw. You need those cool shades, those pilot shades. And you gotta chew a lot of gum. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, a lot of the alpha males, that's what reminded me. Especially that volleyball scene. Very homoerotic. That scene was definitely better than the scene in the sequel when they played football. I give the volleyball scene a better than the sequel.
Because I was inverted.
Bullshit. No, he was, man. It was a really great move. She was inverted.
In the beginning of the movie, it really reminds me of U-571, the Matthew McConaughey, the submarine. How you see the actual Navy personnel actually do their job, and it's incredible. It's because those aren't actors, they're not extras. Those are actually military personnel doing their job, and I can see why Navy really used this movie as a great recruitment for the Navy, because I guess a shit ton of people signed up at this. So I read that during the theaters of this movie, recruiters were actually sit outside of the movies. So when the gun-ho young men come out, they're all full, adrenaline rush. They're like, let's go do this. I guess that was one of the best years they ever had signing up people for the Navy in 1986, thanks to Top Gun.
That's gay.
I didn't know this, but during the production, a stuntman actually died making this movie. And they attribute this movie to that guy. And some people said last year or 2 years ago for the Oscars, they should have like a stunt award, each year. Like best picture, best actor should be best stunt. Because a lot of people have died, and I feel like the stunt community deserves a lot more recognition. And the sad part, the guy that died, so he was in a plane, he ended up crashing in the water, and still today they have not recovered the body or the plane. Crazy. This movie, for your VHS collectors out there like me, this was really the first movie that started the home VHS. Because before this, if you wanted to buy VHS, it was like $80, $90. And those are like the stores. The stores would buy that and then they would rent it out to make their money back. But this was the first movie that was released that was actually like 20, $30 for an average Joe to pick up and take home instead of paying the ridiculously amount of money they wanted back then. So this, for Tom Cruise, was really his first role of his personality was larger than life. I mean, before this, he didn't know how to ride a motorcycle. He had to learn how to ride a motorcycle before this. So that just shows you where Tom Cruise has gone from making this film to the next Top Gun. The shit that he can do, unbelievable. I mean, he can fly almost anything there is to fly. He can drive anything there is to drive. It's unbelievable. I didn't catch this so I watched this before the sequel, and then I watched it after the sequel. And in the sequel, they talk about Penny. That's Tom Cruise's love interest in the sequel, and they actually bring up Penny in this movie. And I didn't catch it the first time, but they bring up about him having a relationship with the Admiral's daughter, Penny. It's like, hey, I know who that is now. But really, the story of this is you have a hothead pilot, Tom Cruise. He's very wild, and he's not much of a team player. But by the time he's done, at the end of the movie, his character arc, he is very much of a team player. Everyone's on board for having him as a wingman, especially Iceman. Iceman absolutely hated him, Val Kilmer's character, but at the very end, they were hugging and they're best friends, and that was a good moment where you almost shed a tear. But in the sequel, you shed a tear like 2-3 times. I'm not gonna lie. I saw a lot of grown-ass men cry in there, and I was fighting it not to be that guy. But at the end of the day, another theme that this story really talks about is letting go, getting past someone that died. So like when Goose died, that's Tom Cruise wingman. And he is just like, I'm done, I want to quit. And the theme is pretty much getting back on the horse and letting go. So it really ends with him, taking Goose's dog chains and throwing it in the water because that's his way of letting go. And for a character arc, I think it's fantastic. This movie is really great. You could tell that when they're in the cockpit, they're not really in the cockpit and flying around. But, I mean, it's 1986. I'm not going to dog it. For a 1986 film, fantastic. Really great. And with that said, I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for a SkyGene score. And for people that think it should be higher than 8 out of 10, I would love to figure out why. I know this hits home to a lot of people, and I totally respect that. I think it's just a great, great, great 80s flick. It's for an 80s action flick. I would put it up there in the top 20, maybe the top 10. But 8 out of 10 is not bad. All right, Sexy Monkeys. I move on to the sequel, Top Gun. So hop on over there if you want to do it. And then if I have time, I'm going to do a segment where I'm going to compare them together and see which one is better. Until then, Sexy Monkeys, excuse me, I'll see you.